Hey there guys, Peak Ginge here, and yes, I am a little late with this one. Sometimes that's just how it be. Sunbreak continues to be a blast, and I welcome you back to another monster spotlight sort of video. We've taken a look at two brand new monsters in Garangolm and Lunagaron, and one effectively new monster in Espinas, so let's go again, this time finally taking a look at the flagship of Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, Malzeno. It took me a little bit to get up to this battle, but I gotta say, it was worth the wait. Malzeno is the third of the three lords and the gatekeeper to master rank 5 quests, and offers a sizable challenge the first time you go up against it, armed with the dragon element and the brand new Blood Blight status effect. It is an elder dragon, as is becoming increasingly more common with flagship monsters, and is basically the monster that the whole story has been based around up until this point. Today I want to talk about it after having fought only one to see just how much I missed, and how my opinion might change as I grind it in the future. If I grind it in the future, that is. To reiterate, the point of this little series is to give my feelings on a monster after versing it just once, to then compare it to my thoughts further down the line, kind of a then and now sort of vibe. So, let's get stuck in. Here is my first Malzeno hunt, and my thoughts on the new monster. The first time you hunt each of the big story-based monsters in Sunbreak, you're accompanied by Fear Rain, which makes the whole process a little bit easier, a bit smoother, but can also take the wind out of your sails if you're looking to just get completely clobbered by a monster the first time you verse it, which is something I personally look for because I like the experience of learning and overcoming something challenging in Monster Hunter. That being said, I think from a story perspective, this is the hunt that makes the most sense for Fear Rain to tag along for, so with that in mind, let's dive in. Like both Garangolm and Lunagaron, this quest takes place in the brand new Citadel map, with one of the areas seemingly built to house Malzeno specifically, an area that it spawned in for me. Very fitting, I know. I didn't know what to expect really because Malzeno doesn't really fit the same build as existing Elder Dragons. Kushala is probably the closest you get, and so likely doesn't share any of its animations. And yeah, I was pretty on the money with that assumption. The fight begins with Malzeno immediately catching me off guard with one of its breath attacks, flashbacks to Espinas, but without the ensuing disaster. As with most other new monsters, I spent the first few minutes not committing too hard to any attacks and figuring out hit zones, and Malzenos seem to be pretty standard for an Elder Dragon. Front legs and head are the go-to. Before it's enraged, I would say Malzeno is pretty tame. It has a variety of attacks where it bites and slashes at you and tries to stab you with its tail and wings. It also has a few breath attacks, but nothing compared to what comes next. Once enraged, Malzeno ramps up a good amount both in speed and damage. Out the gate, it caught me off guard with this new spin attack where it dashes forward, and it enhances the use of the curio that surround it. Oh yeah, those little flying leech things around it are called curio, in case that wasn't clear. Other than that, the fight progresses without too many issues. That is until the form change happens. Much like the two other lords, Malzeno undergoes a bit of a transformation mid-hunt. I think the trigger for this might have something to do with the damage it puts out, but it could just be a health or time trigger as well. I'm not too sure. Regardless, this is where shit gets real. Its white scales change to black and the blood dragon energy emanates around it. As I had heard, Malzeno gains literally just a teleport in this mode, something that's pretty wild for Monster Hunter, which it did straight out the gate. Malzeno's attacks are much faster, more aggressive, and have a lot more weight behind them in this form, and it gains follow-up attacks to combo into, especially after the teleport, such as this double tail stab. A lot of its swiping attacks are much wider as well, and any attacks it lands with its powered up parts inflict Blood Blight. I hadn't looked up Blood Blight before this and couldn't remember its effect, but from versing Malzeno I've gathered that it gradually deals damage and halves your own healing effects, and doing damage is how you cure it, much like the Frenzy Virus. It was here that I first encountered its pin attack as well, something that is pretty terrifying as it wraps around you with its wings and casually just sucks your blood for a little bit, full on vampire style, before attempting to murder you with the teleport combo if you don't wirebug out. From here I used Lunagaron to get a good chunk of damage in, and ultimately led to us knocking it out of its empowered state. With the fight continuing on and Malzeno once again going goblin mode, we get a nice mid-air tail cut, something I wasn't really expecting after learning that you can't cut Lunagaron's tail off, so it was a pleasant surprise. Much like Magnamalo, it just cuts off one of the barbs, not the whole thing. Gone are the days, I guess, of tail cuts being the whole thing, but I get it, it would have probably butchered its moveset. I noticed here just how much Malzeno uses its wings to fight. It seems like a lot of the curio energy comes from them, along with its little vampire cravat neck thing it has, and it uses them to send out blades of dragon energy with several different attacks. We transitioned to one of the snowy sections of the map, and Fear Rain did what Fear Rain does and teleported halfway across the map, snagged Lunagaron again, and was ready for round 2 with a mounted Punisher against Malzeno. From there, the fight continued as it had. I almost carded due to some wacky terrain interaction, and we had Malzeno on the ropes, but we hadn't had our customary card just yet, so let's quickly get that out of the way. Turns out Malzeno has something of a finishing move, a supernova if you will, an attack I hadn't yet witnessed. I guess I had just knocked it out of its charged state in time, so I had no idea what was about to happen, and I was in the prime location to just completely eat the blast and get a one-way ticket back to the camp. Well, I guess it can't be a peak tune video without carding. Malzeno retreated to the castle, and I totally whiffed the true charge slash while I was sleeping. I swear to God, I know how to do it. You gotta just believe me on this one, I promise. You can't catch Malzeno because it's an elder dragon, and so a quick little fight after it woke up, and Malzeno was finally down. Surprisingly with less carts than Garangolm, Lunagaran, or Espinas. Good job me. And so with Malzeno slain, the story comes to an end as he is the definitive final boss. Nah, I'm just messing with you. Of course the final boss is a surprise monster, so let's keep the spoilers to a minimum. With the flagship monster of Sunbreak down, let's talk final thoughts, hey? I honestly like Malzeno quite a lot. It's even up there as one of my favorite flagship monsters at the moment. I think it offers a fresh new addition to the ever-expanding roster of elder dragons that does its own thing in a unique way whilst maintaining the iconic dragon look. It ties the trio of classic movie monsters together really well, and I struggle to think of a better fit for a monster to be the face of this expansion as a whole. As was foreseen, Malzeno is not the final boss of the expansion, but rather the gateway to unlock the end of the story. A classic Lagiacrus/Cedius sort of situation, but it fills the role it was intended to really well, and I look forward to see if it gets itself a variant in the future, much like how Nergigante and Magnamalo have received one. My favorite part of this first hunt was actually getting carded, funnily enough. I'd somehow made it almost all the way through the hunt before it happened, and there's just something really special about the oh fuck moment that occurs as a late game monster winds up its finishing move, and you've got no idea what's going to happen, where it's going to hit, until it's already carded you. It's good shit, and I wouldn't have it any other way. The fact that I didn't cart twice like I did with the other monsters, I think goes to show I'm learning my limits a bit better with the greatsword, and I gotta say, I'm really enjoying my time with it. I can't be sure, but I think if I was using something faster, I wouldn't be enjoying the expansion as much as I am. The risk and reward of the greatsword feels really nice this time around. I think overall Lunagaran is my favorite of the new monsters that I've experienced so far, but Malzeno is a close second, and I look forward to what else the expansion has to offer. I'm currently tossing up whether or not I make the final boss its own video, or just include my thoughts in the final review I will be getting stuck into in the near future. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And so that will just about do it for this video, folks. What do you think of Malzeno, and do you think it is a good or bad flagship for Sunbreak? If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, maybe even share it with a friend if you think they'll like it too. Stay safe and spoiler free out there, folks. I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.